Okay, in this lesson we're going to talk about the metric system and in particular the length in the metric system. So we're going to start with the most basic unit of measure in the metric system, which is the meter. Everything is centered around a meter. A meter would be about the width of a regular doorway. So using the unit measure of meter, we're going to figure out the other measurements, and the metric system is actually a lot easier than a customary system to use. We're going to go through how it's used and different tricks and methods onto solving problems and converting one type of metric measurement to another. We're only going to do length in this lesson. So meters would be the same thing as 1 meter. I'm going to skip over to this side here a little bit. And kilometers, well, the word kilo is a key word, and you're going to keep seeing this in the metric system. Kilo means there's 1,000. So kilometer would be 1,000 meters. Hecto, the word hecto means 100. So hectometer would be 100 meters. Deca is 10. So we have decameter, which means there's 10 meters. So a kilometer would be 1,000 meters. A hectometer would be 100 meters. So a hectometer is, 1 hectometer is about the size of a soccer field. Let's go over to the other side. Now, as we go to the right, we get smaller. So a decimeter would be 1/10 of a meter. I'm going to abbreviate meter with just capital M. Centimeter. 1 tiny centimeter is about 1/2 inch, and that amount is 1/100th of a meter. And a millimeter is 1/1000th of a meter. So you need 10 decimeters. If you take a meter here, you need 10 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You need about 10 of these decimeters to fill up a meter. Centimeters, you need 100 centimeters, and that would equal exactly the same thing as 1 meter. And millimeters are extremely tiny. So if you took a full meter doorway, you need 1,000 millimeters to fill up a meter. Now there's a method called using the metric staircase to solve any metric problem, to convert any unit of metric measurement. And it's very easy to use because if you have any number, for example 364 centimeters, and you want to change it and to, let's say, meters, you don't know how many meters that is. Oops, let's erase that a little bit. Meters. It's very easy to do. So all we have to do is take a decimal place and move it the same amount of steps as the staircase tells us. So 364 has a decimal right here. It's at the end. If the decimal is nowhere to be seen, it's always at the end. So we are starting with centimeters. So I am here. And I want to go to meters. Meters is here. So I'm starting with centimeters, and I'm going to meters, which means I'm going to the left 1, 2. 2 steps to the left. I'm going to take my decimal place. Now I went 1, 2 to the left. So my decimal place also goes 2 to the left. 1, 2, drop off. So we have 3 64/100 meters. So this is the way to use the metric staircase. So let's do a couple more examples of this. So the staircase, just to rephrase this whole thing, is the same as I just mentioned before in the table. We have kilo as the highest measurements, then hecto, then deca, then meter, then decimeter, then centimeters, then millimeters. So these are all abbreviations of the general unit that we use is meter. And we go up as we get to a higher and higher amount, and we go lower as we go to the lower amount. So the decimal goes to the right or to the left. Let's do a different question. Let's say I have 450 kilometers, and I want to know how many meters that is. How many meters is 450 kilometers? First thing we're going to do is we're going to find the km, kilometers. So kilometers are here. I'm starting here. I want to go to meters. Meters are there. So I'm starting with km, and I'm going 1, 2, 3 to become a meter. I went 3 steps to the right. So I take my number, 450, the decimal is here, and I went 1, 2, 3 to the right. So I go also to the right, 1, 2, 3 steps, drop off my decimal place, filling the blank spaces with zeros, and the final answer comes out to be 450,000 meters. Next problem, we're starting with 18 4/10 centimeters. So we are starting here, centimeters. We want to go to become meters. M is for meters. So if it's just M by itself, it goes to meters. So I want to go from centimeters to become meters. So I go 1, 2 steps to the left. Take the old decimal place and also move it 2 steps to the left. 1, 2. Drop it off here. Fill in the extra space with a 0. So the answer is 0 and 184 thousandths of a meter. Next question is asking us to change 8 4/10 of a meter. So we are here, meters, and we want to start from there to go to become millimeters. mm is millimeters. So I have to go 1, 2, 3 steps to the right. Take my old decimal place, 8 4/10, and I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. So my decimal also goes 1, 2, 3. Drop it off, fill in the blank spaces with zeros. Decimals now after the last 0. So 8400, put a comma here. We have 8,400 millimeters. Okay, so the metric steps definitely work for us moving the decimal and finding the correct answer. We can also use a table of values if we know the equivalent transformation between different measurements. We can just do that as well. So we're going to use multiplying or dividing as well and see if that works for us as a different method in case you are a little confused on the metric steps. So we have 8 centimeters and we want to know how many millimeters that is. We know that 1 centimeter is 10 tiny millimeters. So if these were centimeters and we have 8 of them, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and each one of these centimeters, 1 centimeter is 10 millimeters. We have 8 of them, we have to multiply it by 8. So if there's 10 of them, we can multiply 8 by the 10, and the answer is 80. Next problem, we have 12,000 meters, and how many kilometers is that? So we're going to have to find the value with where meters and kilometers are compared. Here are meters and kilometers, so we're going to use this line here. 1 kilometer is 1,000 meters. So one very long kilometer has 1,000 meters. 1 kilometer is 1,000 meters. If we have 12,000 of these amounts, we do 12,000 divided by our amount. So how many thousands are in 12,000? The answer is 12. So there's 12 kilometers in 12,000 meters. Alright, you might be asking, who is this interesting character? Well, his name is King Henry. King Henry drinks milk during council meetings. Did you know that? Now, this guy, King Henry, is actually going to help you memorize the metric steps a little bit easier. So this is a mnemonic device we use to help us memorize the metric steps. I'm going to take King Henry out of here so I can write down king is actually the same thing as kilo. Henry is hecto. Drinks is deca. Milk is meter. During is deci. Council is centi. And meetings is milli. So how are these helpful? Well, if you look at the first initial, K, H, D, M, D, C, and M are going to help you solve the metric steps. So the same way the metric steps go, you can go left to right and move your decimal, but King Henry drinks milk during council meetings might help you memorize the correct order of these values. So we have King Henry drinks milk during council meetings. King is kilo, hecto, deca, meter, deci, centi, and then milli. Here we have 6.8 kilometers, and how many meters is that? Well, we are starting with this, kilometers. So let's go to King. Kilometers, kilo. We are here. We are here. We want to go to M. Regular M is meters. So we go 1, 2, 3. It took us 3 steps to go to the right. The first one doesn't count. We just want to know how many jumps we have to make. So from that starting point, we go 1, 2, 3. So your decimal, 6 8/10 is here, and it has to go 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Drop it off, fill in the blank spaces with zeros, erase the old decimal. We're not using that anymore. We can't have 2 decimal places. So 6, 8, 0, 0 decimal. Our answer is 6,800 meters. Next problem, we have 130 meters. So we are starting with meters, and we want to go towards kilometers. So from here, this is where we're starting from, and we want to become kilometers or kilometers. So we have 1, 2, 3 spaces to the left. This is our start, and we want 1, 2, 3 to become kilo. So our decimal place is not anywhere here, so we have to put it on the end. And then from there, remember 1, 2, 3. So you go 1, 2, 3. Drop it off. You can add a 0 in front of it. The answer is 0 and 130 thousandths of a kilometer. We can rewrite the answer also as the same as 1 and 13 hundredths of a kilometer. Remember that extra 0 on the end is not worth any value, so both are technically correct, but you can just rewrite it as 13 hundredths of a kilometer. Okay, and this brings us to the last problem. We have 4 hundredths of a meter, so we are here, meter, and we want to become centimeters, so we go 1, 2 to the right. So take our decimal place where it used to be and go 1, 2, so we go 1, 2 to the right and drop it after the 4. Decimal is now